Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the First News newspaper. The major story here says, tragedy in Taraba. Over 100 passengers drown in boat mishap. Women, children among victims. This happened in Taraba on Saturday, and it is being reported that 15 bodies have been recovered so far close to the scene, and that the boat capsized mid-water at Benue River. Passengers were said to be heading for Binari Town in Karim Lamido local government area of the state. It is also being reported that none of the passengers had life jackets on. An unfortunate incident there. And then we take another story here. Now, multi-Guinness World Record holder Professor Imafidon to deliver First News newspaper's public lecture, second keynote address. And another story. At the top corner, 100 billion naira projects, APC, PDP disagree over alleged plot by Adeleke to siphon funds. Hardship bar Lalong, or will shun today's meeting with federal government. Labour is talking tough already. Organized Labour is meant to meet with the federal government today to continue conversations with regards to the removal of fuel subsidy. But they are insisting that the Minister for Labour, Simon Lalong, should not be part of that meeting, or else they would shun the meeting with the federal government later today. We'll see how things pan out with regards to that meeting. And I defended Tinubu on certificate controversy until new facts emerged. Ayo Adebanjo speaking. I defended Tinubu on certificate controversy until new facts emerged. Ayo Adebanjo speaking. Process and industrialization development, talking about Nigeria would have lost $15 billion, says former President Muhammadu Buhari. He made this statement on his X account. That was yesterday, where he recalled that he asked his former Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari, and former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, to get a fair hearing, and that Nigeria would have lost about $15 billion as against the $11 billion we're speaking about. I recall that Justice Robert Knowles ruled in favor of Nigeria as at last week when the judgment came. We'll move now to the next newspaper, to the Leadership newspaper. And the major story here, depletion of justices, CJN moves to fill 11 Supreme Court vacancies. NJC may pick from among 10 Court of Appeal justices for 6 North Central South East slots. Apex Courts needs full list of 21 justices. All right, as the story with regards to the move to fill the 11 Supreme Court vacancies. Recall that there has been divergent views with regards to the number of Supreme Court justices available now on the bench. Let's quickly move on now to another story here. Again, federal government Labour meets on palliatives today. Again, federal government Labour meets on palliatives today. Another story here, 14 jostle to replace Ndiomu as amnesty boss. Taraba boat mishap, 15 bodies recovered, others missing. Israel-Hamas war, death toll hits 9,400 in Gaza. And female Federal University of Technology foot mina lecturer murdered in her home. And at the top corner, Tinubu, northern governors mourn, others mourn Ohinoi of Ibira land. May his soul continue to rest in peace. All right, we move now to the Daily Times. Showdown looms as NLC Uzodimma lock horns Wednesday. Showdown looms as NLC Uzodimma lock horns Wednesday. Will hold him responsible if anything happens. Government uses fierce coercion on state labor leaders. That's the major story you'll find there. Another quick one. Shown judgments, confusion grips Oyo over conflicting verdicts from same judge. State government was set to hand Olaoye staff off office. All right, you find all of the details of the stories on the front page of the Daily Times. We move now to this Nigeria newspaper, and the major story here says subsidy, Labour threatens to boycott meeting with federal government if Minister Lalong attend. Union accuses minister of supporting illegal faction of the Union of Road Transport Workers. And plans protest in Imo over workers' sack unpaid salaries as court stops action. And NDLEA arrests Hong Kong, France-bound businessman for ingesting cocaine, heroin, 66 tons of skunk in 5 states. All right, all the details of this story is on the front page of this Nigerian newspaper. To the front page of the Nigerian Tribune now. The major story says, 15-point MOU implementation. NLC threatens boycott of meeting with federal government. Warns Labour Minister not to attend to shut down economic activities in Imo November the 1st over alleged labour maltreatment. And here you see a picture of the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, Olaf Scholz, during his visit to the presidential villa, Abuja, yesterday. Now, I directed Kyari Malami to fight $15 billion payment to P&ID. Former President Muhammadu Buhari is speaking. Another story here says 80 passenger capsizes in Taraba. And Oyo government appeals shown of Ogbomoso's sack. Reps move to give legal backing to artisanal petroleum refiners. CNG vehicles, federal government inaugurates Lagos pilot conversion centers. Interesting development there. All right, we move now to the West newspaper. And the major story here says APC Adeleke's 100 billion naira infrastructure plan a scam. You're bewildered and in severe pain. PDP fires back. But the government plans fresh 3-month shutdown of Third Mainland Bridge for repairs. All of the details of the story you find on the front page of the West newspaper. We'll move now to the Guardian newspaper. The major story here says why probe of 11.3 trillion naira refineries maintenance cost will end futile. Energy challenges undermining Nigeria's development, Tinubu admits. The imperative of a good road infrastructure, that's an editorial in the paper this morning. P&ID, importance of following legal process in dispute resolution by former President Muhammadu Buhari. APC risks losing future polls with questionable candidates, says Don. And at the top corner, we have unconstitutional for politicians to be INEC rec. Osun APC, PDP Bika over Adeleke's 100 billion naira infrastructural agenda. You find all of the details of the stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. To the Nation newspaper now. And the major story here says business obstacles to go. Tinubu assures investors with Supreme Court verdict, no more distractions. President hosts German Chancellor. That's Olaf Scholz yesterday. NNPCL withholds 13.27 trillion naira from Federation account. NLC threatens boycott of today's review meeting with federal government. Court stops Labour's Occupy Imo plan. And then we have the story on the top corner. Explosion rocks Rivers House of Assembly complex. And we spoke with our correspondent in Rivers State earlier who brought us up to speed with details there. Illegal fishing, a threat to blue economy for $100 million or $600 million lost annually. And losing P&ID case would have cost Nigeria $15 billion, says former President Muhammadu Buhari. Boats with 100 on board capsizes in Taraba. And another story here on the front page of the Blueprint now, a major story, how I fought P&ID fraud, saved Nigeria $15 billion trauma. Former President Muhammadu Buhari speaking says it's an attempted heist of historic proportions. And Nigeria won this battle with corruption, but the war is far from over. And to the downstrip, we have Federal University of Technology female lecturer slaughtered in her Mina residence. A really sad incident there. Now, City of Houston proclaims October 25th FITCC Day, but carrying 100 passengers capsizes in Taraba. Serap is saying to INEC, take over constitutional reform process or face legal action. And at the top corner, Lagos, 20 years after avoiding rent obligation, court evicts late Sean's lawyer son. Ohinoye of Igbira land was a father figure to all. Ganduje Barao orders as speaking. Exercise clean sweep. Army detonates 642 unexploded ordinances in Lagos. Ibrahim.
Right, the first newspaper that I have with me here is Daily Trust with the screaming headline, pay rise. Federal government yet to pay 79.3 billion naira peculiar allowance 7 months after. Johnson ultimatum ends tomorrow. NLC alleges lack of capacity to manage wages. Supplementary budget stalls payment in agencies. Finance Ministry, mum. Power Minister yet to give policy directive after 2 months in office. Nigeria-Chinese firms sign 365 billion naira contract to upgrade distribution lines. And Tinubu, northern governors, others mourn as Ohinoi of Ibiraland dies at 94. Federal government plans reabsorption of retired military officers. And UN raises the alarm as food stores ransacked in Gaza. Many fear dead as boat with over 100 passengers capsizes in Taraba. You can see these and many more on the front pages of the newspaper, of the Daily Trust newspaper. Nigerian News Direct. Federal government targets $2 billion investment from CNG conversion. The conversion program, you see that on page 4, over 1 million CNG vehicles to be diverted. And similarly above the nameplate, Ogun to launch CNG mass buses today. Ogun to launch CNG mass buses today. As local refineries prepare to commence oil production, NUPRC warns of supply sabotage. Counterterrorism, federal government meets with Turkey to fast-track delivery of war helicopters. Federal government meets with Turkey to fast-track delivery of war helicopters. Oyo government files suit to obtain judgment sacking of Seun of Ogbomoso, and over 100 passengers feared dead as boat capsizes in Benue River. Moving on to the next, the Abuja Inquirer. FCTA misses IGR target for 2022, records 76 billion naira shortfall. Kaduna refinery to be ready in fourth quarter of 2024. That's according to the federal government. And above the masthead, U.S. city of Houston proclaims October 25th FITCC Day. You see that on page 12. And FITCC actually means Fidelity International Trade and Creative Connect Summit, committed to fostering bilateral trade and economic development between City of Houston and Nigeria. OT tasks NDDC on abandoned projects in Abia, seeks erosion control intervention. You see these and many more on the front page of the Abuja Inquirer. Business Day newspaper is next. Nigeria's path to huge dollar inflow riddled with hurdles. Nigeria's path to huge dollar inflow riddled with hurdles. That's the big story for the Business Day newspaper. These 9 stocks to see sell-off as Nigeria exits MSCI Frontier Index. These 9 stocks to see sell-off as Nigeria exits MSCI Frontier Index. Afrobeat pursues growth amid global recognition. You see this and many more on the front page of the Business Day newspaper. Next is Voice of Liberty. Marketers hint at 800 naira petrol price amid surge in landing cost, worsening FX constraints. 1 killed as bandits abduct Zamfara monarch, 5 others. Federal government wants urgent resolution of Israel-Hamas conflict. Rule of law index. Nigeria ranked 120th out of 142 countries. Also, Taraba, many missing as boat carrying over 100 passengers capsizes. Maritime security, IMB threat over piracy surge in Gulf of Guinea. Tinubu's allies allege alienation, emergence of new cabal in Villa. You can read that further on the pages of the Voice of Liberty. Next is national economy. Free fall Why Naira may continue to depreciate, that's according to experts. Beverage tax in Nigeria, a thirst for health and revenue. You see that on page 12 of the national economy. Why fintech disruption cannot turn traditional banks to vinyl. Why fintech disruption cannot turn traditional banks into vinyl. That's on page 10. Implication of CBN's lifting of restrictions on 43 items. You can read that further on page 15 of the national economy. Next is Daily Independent. Fresh CBN Forex market push on fresh CBN Forex market push on settles speculators. Banks. Boat capsizes with 100 passengers in Taraba. You see that on page 7. And Buhari lists what Nigeria could have lost in the P&ID $11 billion case. Page 29. Catholic priest, 4 others abducted in Taraba. That's on page 6. And Akpabio Kalu lead delegation to brief Tinubu on IPU assembly outcome. You can read that on page 6. Nigeria crawling, but we are changing the narrative. President Tinubu tells German Chancellor, says Supreme Court has put paid to distractions from political opponents. It's regrettable how minerals from Nigeria end up in other countries. That's German Chancellor talking there, Olaf Scholz talking there. And on the bottom strip, thousands raid Gaza aid warehouses. Israel widens ground offensive. Thousands raid Gaza aid warehouses. Israel widens ground offensive. NLC to embark on strike streets protest in Imo November the 1st. And Serap tasks INEC on reforms to secure Nigeria's voting rights. Nature News is next. Federal government disburses 4 billion naira ecological fund in 2023. Minister appeals to Senate for support on federal government's mandate. Fact check. Did Angel Gabriel appear in Brazil? Interesting read for you on page 13. And Oyo State dredges 8 river streams to avert flooding. Last but not least, Nature Care gets back in shape with these flat tummy exercise. You can read that all up on front pages of the Nature Care newspaper, Nature News rather. And last but not least is the Business AM. Foreign investors avoiding Nigeria's oil region states as FDIs move south. Only 0.51% of Nigeria FDI 2023. That's 2013 to first quarter of 2020. Some states attracted only 1 FDI in 9 years. The state governments don't encourage spirit of enterprise. Investors bet big on Nigeria's coffee industry to earn over $2 billion by 2025. And also on the ear of the newspaper, AIF's 2023 market days could offer Nigeria foreign investors $billion lifeline. That's according to the Business AM. Quite interesting reads for many of the newspapers this Monday morning.
Right. Okay, we'll have to wrap things up here now. And coming